Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I'd like to call the December Planning Commission regular business meeting to order. And I would ask that you join us in the saying of our Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Thank you. Do we have any minutes from our last meeting, Sam? Did we circulate those yet?
We've sent them out. Sign up right away. You don't remember seeing them.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing them either. Okay. So we'll just jump into our single action item for this evening, which is the zoning ordinance task force update. And as you may recall, at our last meeting, we were unable to reach an agreement on how we propose to handle amendments to the Limestone Road area. And in the intervening month, there was a group of residents that got together with the property owners and reviewed the permissions within the zoning table for what we're calling the light industrial district. And we're able to reach agreement on all but 13 of the items. Thereafter, the zoning task force reconvened and discussed the 13 items and talked over the concerns of various stakeholders. And we reached an agreement, what we believe is a compromise for those 13 items. So before us tonight, we have the ability to pass along to the Board of Supervisors with the recommendation for the zoning update. That includes all of our previous work as well as the changes to both the Village Gateway District that we discussed last time and came to an agreement upon, which was modifying those permissions such that trucking terminal, warehouse logistics large, and warehouse logistics small were all permitted by right, as well as the table that was circulated earlier that contains all of the permissions for the light industrial district. And I thought what we might do is talk through those 13 items, if you like, and we can discuss any questions or reactions or comments that anybody has. Does that sound good?
Just an overall question. There was a few that I guess you weren't decided on, right? Or didn't come to agreement on.
I'm sorry?
There was a few that you didn't come to agreement on, correct? So what is the goal of tonight? of those?
We reached an agreement
Oh, you did.
within the zoning task force for all 13 of the items. And those are reflected in the table that was circulated earlier. And do we want to put those up on the
Do you have that?
screen, Robert?
I think-
No. Do you want?
Right, not in agreement, right?
You did?
I'm not agree. That's what I'm asking about.
Thank you, Robert.
Is that what he's walking us through now?
So if we take a look at the table, the 13 areas that were open for the zoning task force to decide upon are highlighted in light green. So the first couple relate to residential and lodging uses. Item number 6, dwelling multi-unit, and item number 9, dwelling townhouse. The zoning task force recommended permitted by right for both of those.
I guess just for the record, we didn't get this updated one.
I'm sorry.
We did not get this updated one for the record.
It was attached to the.
Yeah, Bob sent it out.
It was attached to your agenda packet.
Okay.
So you should have gotten the agenda.
Bill has
Well,
printed out too, and it has, could not agree, but it's fine. We can go through it. I'm just,
Okay.
I'll double check what I looked at.
The next two open items were retail uses. Item number 49, outdoor sales lot, and item 50, retail general greater than 3,000 square feet. And we're proposing permitted by right for the outdoor sales lot and special exception for the retail general greater than 3,000 square feet. For the service uses, automobile fueling and limited repair and automotive mobile repair were both special exception. Car wash, special exception, and eating place permitted by right. Lastly, service general greater than 3,000 square feet permitted by right. Moving down to industrial uses. The three items that were open were trucking terminal, warehouse logistics large, and warehouse logistics small. Excuse me. Our recommendation was conditional use for those three. And then I believe the last one is drive-through facility, which is an accessory use, and we proposed conditional use.
Are you in the, is it the revised column?
It's what's shown in mine. I mean, I printed out the thing and it matches this. I printed out what Robert said.
The columns are, some of those columns are hidden, just.
Third tab?
Yes.
Could you please speak up? I can barely hear.
Sorry, I'll put my mic on. That should help. We were sent this on the 15th, and I guess we looked at the first tab, not understanding what tab sheet on the bottom we were supposed to be reviewing. And that's what our issue has been. So we're seeing it.
Yeah.
This is the one I got in my email. So I copied and put right here.
Right, so that is the first sheet, and they're showing sheet number 3 of the Excel attachment.
The Excel spreadsheet had 3 tabs to it. So this is the one that we were looking on the screen is the third tab, which was the compromise. The first tab was
Well, it could be.
the
Could be.
original
But what's
table.
going on? I copied everything that was on there.
And I mean, yes, I just looked at my email and there was 3 sheets to it. I guess my only comment is it would have been helpful to know what sheet we should have looked at. But here we are, and that's fine.
Copies here. Well, we don't, we should all have copies.
Well, that's the third tab. That's the one that is the compromise
Yes.
that we use to vote
Is it
on the
possible to
task
print off
force.
the third tab?
So give me this, Roseanne, I guess. On Ps, and I can actually print it off. Or
You
maybe
can have mine. I printed them off. Right there.
So what, one, how many chambers?
There was 13 that were not able to be successfully agreed upon by the residents and the property owners. And those are the ones that we just reviewed.
Well, that's good. Is it beneficial to everybody in the township
Turn the mic on.
rather than people that give you these questions? That's all my question.
We think so. You know, I think the zoning task force, we tried to balance the interests of all of the stakeholders, including property owners, residents in the area, and the broader township, as well as the zoning initiative overall.
Well, I really don't agree on both sides of that road being the same zoning to start with. And I said that in the last meeting, because you're missing an awful good opportunity for cash ratables or tax ratables in this township. As far as what is on I would say that the west side, which is closer to Harrogate, you know, I could care less what goes in there. But I walked the whole thing the other day myself. And there's a berm there, high as that ceiling over there. There's nothing going to come out. Anything is for that strip there. There was supposed to be a grocery store there one time. Would have been an ideal place for one. But it was during the recessionary period in early 2000s. That's why it never got built there. But as far as changing all these ideas, you know, the people who, I guess the townships put faith in the people the planners that planned this thing and were, you know, who felt that this was a good idea. I think that's what they do for a living. So I would feel better that way. As far as what's on the south or the east side, I just think that should be more commercial oriented, because it's such a big piece of property. The Laffertys have huge pieces between the two Laffertys there. All the corners basically are the Laffertys, except for the one corner where Edgecraft is. So, you know, it just seems that we're taking so much away from property owners that have a more valuable piece of property be commercial than it would be to be, you know, have residential homes in it. You know, I would hate to see residential homes, because their property goes all the way into Delaware. So I would just hate to see, you know, 1,000 homes being built there, because that's just not the place to be. You know, that's a highway that goes into Route 1, it goes south, you go 301, that goes further south, you know, and it matches up to 41 that goes to Lancaster, right? 41 that goes into Delaware. You know, it's whatever you want to call it. You can call it a country road if you want to, but it's still an access road for all the time. Once you get into Delaware, you're getting into 4 lanes traffic. Why are we doing that? The only problem we have is Kaolin going on Kaolin Road when it gets past 41. Whether to do something with that someday, but 41 is where they're going. You know, 41 and Route 7, and I just think the township is making a big mistake if they don't put more commercial onto the eastern portion of that property, the biggest part of it, where Sam lives on that side. That's all I got. whatever you do on that one piece on that western side, you're not going to hear anything there. I stood back there and you couldn't even hear the traffic on, and there's a lot of trucks that go up and down that road. You couldn't hear them from back of that berm. So it's not going to be an issue there. So, I remember when Wilkinson put that berm there, he did that for that reason.
Additional thoughts or questions or comments?
No, I mean, I trust that since you guys put so much work and time and effort into this, I trust that the selections that you made for those 13 are, you did your best to think about the whole township. So I would support them.
Are we ready to make a decision about sending this to the Board of Supervisors? Don?
I support plan that we agreed to with one exception. And that's the industrial use down here, truck terminals. And I just don't see a truck terminal and a warehouse logistics large fitting well with the road sizing problems we have on both 41, which feeds right into it, and Limestone. There are homes down on the Delaware side that would make it very hard to expand that road. There are wide loads that continually pour down 41 onto Limestone. And I'm there all times a day, and they do cause a hazard. And so I'm willing to approve it subject to a note to the supervisor saying, I suggest they look at the trucking terminal and warehouse logistics large. And I'm willing to make a motion in that regard. And I'd like to hear, though, from Katrina, who's a traffic engineer, as to what her opinion is. I think she probably has a firmer background than I do.
Well, you're putting me on the spot here, Don. I think that truck terminals and warehouses and things of that sort, I mean, it's marked as conditional, so I guess, my big concern coming from a engineering traffic standpoint would be the studies and the turns and the queuings, if they're trying to get, from 7 on back onto 41, turning left right under the bridge, that queuing there. I'm talking right off the cusp of my brain right now. That would be my major concern of that interchange right there. I think that there is quite a large right of way along 7. But yeah, I guess if conditional would be, it would have to be reviewed at some level, correct? And so,
Submitted, but there has to be a hearing.
right, and I would assume that would then cover what we're talking about, modeling and all different types of traffic studies for it to then be permitted. So, yeah, that would be my major coming from a traffic engineering standpoint. That would be my major concern, would be queues, idle time, air quality impacts, things like that. But that, for a township to be considered and think about.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
please.
So coming from the industry, I can say that I feel conditional is appropriate because there is oversight, there is extreme regulation in the industry, there is limitations. We are not allowed to leave trucks idle in the yard. So I'm comfortable with conditional that it will receive the support of the township and it will be done properly. It will be some shoddy operation that I think everyone associates when they hear trucking terminal. The facilities today are very much state of the art and come with huge expectations. So again, in alignment with conditional, making sure that it meets everyone's expectations, I think is appropriate. I would agree with you that if you would say it was permitted or something like that, that would be a little too loose. So that would be just, I would support and agree the township supervisors should take in consideration that it's a recommendation. So I second the motion that Don put forward.
Okay, so we have a motion and that has been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the ayes have it. Thank you very much. That was Don, did you include the Village Gateway?
No, that was just.
Okay. I move that we include within our approval of the draft zoning ordinance and submission to the Board of Supervisors, the Village Gateway District adjustment that we discussed at the last meeting, which is permitting by right the trucking terminal, warehouse logistics small, and warehouse logistics large.
I second that.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, so that concludes our first action item. And only action item. Was there
Correct.
any other items that we needed to discuss, Robert?
No, the applicant asked to be moved back a month because they couldn't attend tonight.
Okay, so are there any non-action items, Robert?
No, not
Any-
that I have.
Any general discussion from the?
I'm
No.
sorry,
Yeah, our second item that was on the agenda, that subdivision, they need a little bit more time to get that completed. Any general discussion from the Planning Commission?
Yeah, I have some concern about these traffic studies that we're about to see in White Clay Point. We have a traffic expert here, and I'll tell you what gave me the concern is the statement was made that there was a 2.2 car per hour load on Sunnydale as it, runs into 41. And I'm just not sure how that gets read when you consider the fact that this 2.2 per hour is not evenly distributed. So you've got very low rates until school starts at the middle school and school ends at the middle school. Then, of course, it backs up. So I'd like to hear from Katrina I put you on the spot as to what we should consider in the future, as long as we have some open time.
I guess I'm not fully familiar with that stat. I know I'd want to read their whole study.
It was,
Mr.
I
Morgan,
think it was
I have two concerns. One is that's an issue that isn't on the agenda.
right, but this is a general.
Second is you're putting her in a spot because I believe she's a professional, but not here. That is.
Well, I
she's
just
not
asked for her
employed.
opinion.
She's here as a citizen and not a
Right.
professional. And I always have real concerns about professionals in a field being on a volunteer board and being asked for their opinion because they're really sitting. Certainly, they can use that knowledge to make their decisions, but they're not sitting in that position. So I would caution, A, it's not on the agenda, and B, I think you're putting her on the spot, which is kind of a risk.
But that's okay, that's fine, I understand that. And I was
When it
looking-
comes before you, I guess she can say what she thinks, but
Yeah, well,
wanna put her on
this was supposed to be general discussion, and I consider that to be a general discussion. There's no item before us. And I'm
But
asking
we
the
were
question.
specifically talking about a traffic study for development that has been before you, so that makes it an agenda item, and it's not, that's all.
Okay.
That makes sense. Say again?
The development's been in front of you.
Yeah, that has, but there's nobody brought us anything with the traffic yet.
Correct.
Doesn't matter. It would have to be an agenda item for you guys to discuss, as a board, as a commission. Sorry, I killed fun once.
No, I appreciate it.
love
I was
having
trying
you
to
here.
figure out how not to respond.
Okay.
That's-
Hey, Bob, Robert, when would the zoning ordinance then be before the supervisors?
At their, I think it's the fourth Monday because the third Monday is Martin Luther King Day. So whatever that, so I want to say it's the 27th or something, 26th, because the next PC is the 28th or 9th. Oh, well, it's right there. Whoops.
Yeah, 28th is.
The 28th, so go 2 days in front of that. And then remember that it goes to the Board of Supervisors, the Board of Supervisors approve, and then it goes for the 45-day public review and to the Chester County Planning Commission. So that's that window in there for the public comment.
Okay. Well, we have several of our neighbors here tonight. And I'll just open it up for you if you have any thoughts or things that you'd like to discuss. Come on up.
I don't believe that's on, sir.
Name is Peter Mrozinski. I'm at 309 Hyde Park Road. First question, how and when will all this be made public? What you voted on tonight.
It is being public, it's public right now.
You're not going to publish it. Will you publish it anyway?
It's right now it's live on YouTube. So that's
It's
public.
a public
So
meeting.
there's not going to be a document that is going to give us what the new zoning looks like?
There will be, logistically, there is not a requirement between this meeting and the Board of Supervisors accepting it, that it be public, but once the Board of Supervisors have then said, we accept it, I'm sorry, I can't talk very much.
You don't think it would be just the thing to do is to let people know what you decided? That's all I'm asking. And
Certainly.
you're saying you're not going to do that
I'm not.
before the
suggesting do it.
supervisors?
You're talking about a physical document and when that document will be. This board, this commission made a decision to move it forward in that condition with those changes, with that modification. The physical modification to the document requires the people who do the physical modification to the document to do so. When that will occur, I don't know, but it will be made public. It's not, it's just, nobody can give you a schedule for that right now.
So you went through these things very quickly. A lot of times the microphones were not on. I don't know that I got everything down here. I would like to see something. Why can't this group put out a piece of paper that says, here's what we decided on?
Well, there's no requirement that they do so.
I don't care if there's no requirement.
I understand that, but
Wo-
we've,
Was,
the rule of law, and that's not in it.
There's too much,
Rob-
there's too much in this township that goes by, we don't have to do it. I'm tired of hearing that. I've heard that for 5 years from this township. Whenever something like this happens, the answer I get is, we don't have to do it. Do you think that is the way things should be run here?
I think this township runs in accordance with the law. They follow the statutes. They have made this decision in public. which is required at a publicly advertised meeting. The Board of
You're giving me the
Supervisors.
same answer.
Well, it happens
You're
to be
giving me the
correct
same
one,
answer.
Sir, so that's why you're getting the same answer. It's
No,
right
I'm
at-
asking a different question. I'm not saying what's
Robert,
the law. I'm
excuse
asking,
excuse
why
me.
can you not do it?
Excuse me. Hang on a second. Robert, is the screen share on the YouTube recording?
Whoops, yes, this,
Okay, so we went through the spreadsheet during the meeting. So within the YouTube recording, you'll be able to see everything if you didn't have a chance to write it down.
If I may, sir, the meeting notes of this meeting will be put on the website. Attached to the meeting notes will be the third tab of the spreadsheet, which has the
Thank you.
green highlights in it in the column
Thank
that's
you.
revised.
That's
So
all I'm
I
asking.
offer that, not necessarily the formal map and the formal next stage of that level of documentation, but what I'm comfortable with asking my
Our secretary.
secretary would be able to provide that as part of the meeting notes, if that would be acceptable.
Yes, that's all I'm at.
Thank you.
I'm not asking for. So the next steps for us is, will we get to, I don't know if you know the answer to this, but the Board of Supervisors will now vote on your at their next meeting.
What a number of things can happen. It will be on the agenda. The procedure for the adoption of the ordinance, if they accept it as presented to them by the Planning Commission, is to send it to the County Planning Commission and then advertise for the public hearing. If at their meeting, they look at it and want to make any changes or anything, that's possible at that meeting. And then they would send it on to the County Planning Commission,
So,
who has to have it for 45 days.
so if it's the way that Board of Supervisors meetings are, is they do allow public comment. So I would assume they would allow public comment at that meeting because it is an agenda.
It's on the agenda and it will be,
Right.
yes, that's correct.
I don't know how much you can go into this 45-day period. What kind of opportunities are there?
Well, the 45 days is a requirement in the Pennsylvania Municipalities Planning Code when the zoning ordinance is adopted, and a new one like this, it's a 45-day review period. And so the Chester County Planning Commission has to have it for 45 days before there would be an adoption hearing. So for scheduling purposes, assuming the
So-
board says this
So
is
the
great
45 days is to give Chester County time
to review it.
to review it and get ready for a hearing
Well, they.
or whatever they're going to do.
They just have the 45 days to review it, and the law says the board can't hold a hearing to adopt a public hearing, that the process is a public hearing. And then at a Board of Supervisors meeting, they would vote whether to adopt it or not. That can't happen, that hearing and that meeting can't happen until the Planning Commission has had it for 45 days. It's just a timing requirement.
So I'm just trying to understand what opportunities we will have. So at the Board of Supervisors, we can make public comment,
Right.
but that 45-day period is not to get input from the public. It's just for the Chester County to do what they need to review it and get ready for their.
That's right. During that 45-day period, the township really sort of is in limbo. There's not really anything. Once the board sends it off, then the county has that 45 days. Then there is a public hearing after that 45 day passes for the public, strictly for the presentation of the ordinance and the public to comment. And then there will be a meeting in which they can adopt it.
But
So
there's
there
no-
are.
There's no opportunity during that 45-day period.
No, it's actually, all it is it gives the county time to review it. It doesn't even involve the township at all. Yes. I mean, you can make public comment at various meetings between them. It's just, it really is just to give the Chester County Planning Commission time.
I don't know how far to take this, but as I've said, I've had many run-ins with the township, and I find the secrecy and the always falling back on this is what the law says. And a term I've heard too often was, we've done what is the minimum required. And I find that very offensive, actually. I don't think that things should be done to the minimum.
I'll comment on that. This process was done extensively more than the minimum.
I'm,
So I hear what you're saying.
Here's the other thing that,
It's been more.
again, I don't know if I want to, I believe we were led to believe the 45-day period would be a time for public input. I can't tell you who said that, but the fact that everything we hear says, well, it's going to go to the Board of Supervisors, then there's the 45-day period. And I certainly took that, and I know others did, as an opportunity to interact and provide some input. It is not. And so I'm trying to understand what we can expect and what we cannot. Because I'm sorry, I don't believe, I'm not talking to you people here. In general, the township does a very poor job of letting the public know what's really happening. And I'm not going to go, I can give you detail, but I'm not going to go into that. So to my question, we will have an opportunity at the Board of Supervisors meeting, and we will have an opportunity at any hearings by Chester County.
No. The hearing is the township. Chester County, the only people, the reason there's no public comment during that 45-day period is it's just the professional planners at the Chester County Planning Commission who review it, and they send back comments. We have to have those comments from them, and that's written, they're written comments. The township has to have them. That's why we can't do anything until after that. After we receive their comments, we can then hold the hearing. So, and they,
The Board of Supervisors will have their January meeting. They might accept this, at which point we go to the 40, and then that comes back to the township. And
Yes.
the township then holds hearings.
the township, under the municipality's planning code, to adopt the ordinance, the township has to have a hearing. And what the hearing is for is to present the terms of the ordinance and to receive public comment. And they can't adopt it until after that hearing. So, and in some instances, it's the same evening. And in others, if there's anticipated to be a lot of public comment, it's on its own. It's a separate, and it's advertised. The advertisement notice says, generally speaking, sort of an outline of what's in the ordinance. The ordinance is obviously available here to look at. It's available online to look at. And it actually, a copy of it will be available in the Chester County Law Library and with the newspaper. So we distribute copies of the proposed ordinance.
Okay.
And there's also a February meeting because of the Board of Supervisors, it will not be on the agenda, but in this township always encourages public comment for non-agenda items in February.
Okay.
Mr. Mrzinski, I'd like to remind you that you were given 2 opportunities to negotiate independent of the
I was just going
task
to go there.
force.
I was just going to go there. I was going to thank you for those opportunities. Honestly, that was my next comment, was to thank you, because I think we had a very worthwhile session. And I think we got along a lot better than we all expected we would. It helped me understand a different point of view. And it did change my thinking. But I still do not agree with everything, and that's why I'm trying to.
Nor do I.
Okay.
But part of the democratic process.
Right. No, I
is
take
voting.
that. I take that. That's why I did not intend to come up here and try to change your minds. I appreciate the process you've gone through. I appreciate the opportunities we had. That's not what I'm just trying to understand what's next. Thank you.
Thank you. Please. Come on up.
Good evening, everybody. Just looking at the numbers, there were 13 items. Excuse me, my name is Clara Yellow from Harlow Point. Out of 13 items, I noticed that you agreed with 3 of the homeowners put forth. That leaves 10 that you disagreed on. Some of them were close, where we had not permitted, you may have had special, etc. But there are a few that were pretty big difference, didn't seem to be, at least in my opinion, a fair compromise within the group. I'll give you an example of like the outdoor sales lot you had permitted, if I wrote them down correctly, because I didn't have hard copy. We had special exception. Automobile with fueling, we had requested not permitted. You had at least special exception there. Car wash, REX not permitted, you had special exception. Those are not the big gaps. Service general greater than 3,000, we asked for special exception, you had permitted. And trucking terminal, which you had also discussed in front of us here, and warehouse large, we had not permitted, and you had condition. It would have been conditional, would have been nice to at least go with the S there instead of the C. So I'm just trying to point out that, and I thought we made good arguments based on facts. But it seems on some of them, you went from, we were here and you were here, and there seemed to be something that could have been done in the middle. Just my opinion, just a comment. And I think Pete asked the other questions that I would have posed. My only other question is, and I don't know why I never noticed this before, but I noticed that 4 of you are double duty, task force and planning commission. And I'm wondering, when that comes forth from the task force to the planning commission, are we really getting a mix of opinions that, as homeowners or property owners, that we really should have in these huge decisions? Again, I don't expect you to answer that, but I just wanted to put that forth. I know it's a lot of work on the task force, planning commission, Board of Supervisors. Don't get me wrong, and I know that a lot of you volunteer your time. But as I was going through this process, and especially the last month or so, I said, gee, I wonder how that is and why is that even allowed?
I'll answer that for you.
Yes, please.
So, and this was brought up in the beginning of this whole process when the idea was to do the zoning ordinance change, that the township went to the county and got a grant. That is one of the requirements of the county grant, was that there had to be so many planning commission members on that task force. Reason being is that you're not having the same people are pretty much looking at it to help the process through. But that is a requirement of the county. That is why you have 4 PC members. It was a county requirement.
So 4 out of 7 are on both committees.
Correct. Yep.
That's a majority, not.
But
I'm
that was not the township's rule. That was the rule by the county who provided the grant, which is also the planning.
Okay, I
Mark.
mean, and thank you for explaining
Mhm.
that, except from where I'm standing and from all the work that we put in, it's a little disturbing. That's all I'm saying. And again, it's just my opinion. I have not spoken to the other individuals who I've been working with on this, but I was just curious of how that could happen. You explained that. I obviously think it might be a little bit of a problem. But we're so far down the road right now, I'm not sure that it's really, I'm not sure that it would make a difference. It's just that it feels a little uneven there. But like I said, out of 13 items, you agreed with the homeowners on 3, and there were several that was just a really drastic difference that probably could have been compromised a little more between us, you, and obviously the landowners. Thank you.
Thank you.
This has been the longest process. I came to the first meeting. I know a lot of people did come to me first meeting. It's been, what, like 2 years? It feels like 5. I appreciate all your time. I think you've been very open. Sometimes it's difficult to find the information that you're looking for. For example, looking at the spreadsheet of whatever they can do. Sometimes it's hard to figure out, and you do have to print it out, and you have to check the date, because that makes a big difference too. I'm sorry if you all have had trouble getting information from the township. I have never had that problem, and I've lived here since the 90s. I think they've come a long way with what they put on the website. They put everything on there. As I said, sometimes it's hard to find, but it's on there. And you may not be able to find it a second time, but you can usually find it once. So I appreciate all you've done. I thought you could comment for the 45 days, like send an email or whatever, if you have more comments that you want to make while it's gone to the county. So there's plenty of time left to make more comments, right?
There's no preventing your submitting comments during that time period. It's just not a requirement of the adoption process.
Correct.
So certainly you can comment,
Right.
written comment, that's fine. It's just, that's not what the 45 days.
It's not a public comment like this.
Exactly.
You can certainly tell the township what you think. And I
Yes.
think we all feel very free telling this township what we think, and I appreciate y'all listening. Please tell me we're not going to do this again in 10 years, that this is going to last for a while. But thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate it. Even though we don't agree with everything, we can all get along and talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much for coming out tonight. And on behalf of both the Zoning Task Force and the Planning Commission, thank you all for your very active and thoughtful engagement in the zoning initiative. It's been most helpful to us as we try to do our work, and we really appreciate it. So thank you very much. The meeting is adjourned. I know, it's great. I know. I love being good cop.